Hello and welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. Zystral here bringing you another YellowCard combos. In today's combo video, it's going to be a bit of a shorter one. We're only showing you one combo, but the combo is a little bit involved. And it's involving the new Merciless Dragon from Nova Grappler. If you don't know what Merciless Dragon does, it's the new stride we're getting in Premium Collection 2022, revealed by our good friend tyfyghtr. If you haven't seen this video yet, check it out up here. But for those of you who do, let's get right into today's combo. As you can see, the combo actually does have a little bit of setup that you need to go through. There's quite a few pieces you need. The two main important ones are the Furious Puncher and the Malyaki. These two G-era pieces that we used to play a long time ago, but obviously have since fallen off with V. But now, because we're standing on Vanguard a bunch of times, there's suddenly a lot of power we can gain here. The next two things we need are two Restanders. It doesn't have to be Ganbaragan, which I have here, but Ganbaragan and Cool Hank are the two best ones because they don't cost Counterblast. This is important because Merciless costs Counterblast, and you're going to be using this effect quite a lot this turn, so it's best to have as much Counterblast open as possible. In fact, you can actually do this with just 2 or 3. I put 4 here just so you don't heal out of it by accident, but if you have like 5, you can replace one of these Ganbaragans with like, say, a Goshachi or whatever. Ninjad is much less good here because you're not flipping anything, so Ninjad's power boost is going to be wasted. So Ganbaragan is actually the best option because it's A, the resource that you can afford to give up the most, and B, it actually hits numbers on its own. You know, he comes 13k when he attacks. And the other thing that's nice is, the other two things that are nice are Drill the Jewel and Earnest. Drill the Jewel is not needed at all, but it really helps put the extra pressure on your Vanguard swing, because you're attacking with your Vanguard 3 times, and as we can see, Drill the Jewel isn't once per turn, but the effect lasts for the whole turn. So when you use Drill the Jewel on the first Vanguard swing, whenever your Vanguard restands, every subsequent effect will have this 2-card guard effect applied to it. So it's almost like using Decat with Overlord the End, which is really, really strong. The second extender is Honest. Now, Honest isn't needed at all, but every single Honest you have is another power boost later on in the turn, because you can rest and restand your Furious Puncher in the main phase. That'll increase the number of power stacks you can get. So you don't need any, like I said, but the more you have, the better it is. And of course you need the Victor Vanguard in your name because Malyaki and Ganbaragan both need a Victor Vanguard. But here I've got the setup, so let's just jump straight into it. So I've only put one Honest here to show you the bare minimum, and I'll let you imagine what you can do with like 2 or 3 Honests. So play the Honest, whose effect is Soul Lost 1, rest himself and another of your rear guards to draw a card. Nothing important, you know, it just replaces itself, which is nice, especially because you need to discard for Drill the Duel. Or if you only have like 1 or 2 Restanders or you want to Drill the Duel, maybe you can dig for like that last extra piece. But the other great thing about Honest is that he can also restand your Furious Puncher. So we're going to retire him with GB1 to stand Furious Puncher. Now when this happens, 2 things, well 3 things technically get ready, but one of them we're not going to bother. So the one we're not going to bother with is Merciless Dragon because we don't need to stand it right now and we don't want to attack with our Vanguard in the main phase. We want to save that for the battle phase. The Furious Puncher, when he restands, will give our Vanguard +5. So that's the first instance of +5. Then, when Malyaki's other unit in his column stands, it will give that unit an instance of red text. So in this case, the Furious Puncher will get, when this unit stands, use effect for one of your cards, it gains. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose 2 units and they gain 4k at the end of turn. So it's red text that gives red text. But basically, Furious Puncher now says, when he attacks, 2 of our units gain 4k. And that effect is not once per turn, and the ability to gain that effect is not once per turn. So this is what I mean when I say that every Honest you have is further number scaling. So we're going to put a 1 here to show that Furious Puncher has 1 instance of on attack give 4k for the turn for now. So that's the initial setup. So like I said, you don't need the Honests. If you don't have the Honest, then you just skip this phase and you go straight to attacking. So the first attack we're going to do is with our Vanguard, because we want to get Drill the Jewel's effect off going as fast as possible, and because the first few attacks are quite small, we want to hit the trigger so we can put triggers on our rear guards to make them equally threatening. So we're going to use Drill the Jewel to discard 1, and now your opponent has to guard with 2 cards. Now in this instance, I've also stacked the deck so we're not going to get any triggers, but you can imagine that every crit you see, every 10k from a trigger, over trigger if you hit it, just makes your multi-attacks even stronger because you now have rather than like the old Victor lines where you had like everything attacking multiple times, in this instance, we're all in on the Vanguard and Furious Puncher, so you want those two columns to be as threatening and scary as possible. And of course, I'm actually prioritizing the Vanguard more. So usually if you get triggers, you're probably going to put them on the Vanguard, especially because they're crits. But in this case, I'm just going to show no triggers. So 1, 2, 3, that's fine. But like I said, any triggers, even better. So at the end of the battle, your Vanguard loses a drive. That's not a big problem. We're still going to have drives at the very end. But for now, that's the attack done. So now we're attacking with this column. So it's 14 on its own. But then when Furious Puncher attacks, because we have the Maliaki effect, it can give 2 units 4k. So we're going to put 4k on himself and 4k onto Vanguard. So this is 14 plus the 4 makes 18. It's not an amazing number, it's just 10k to guard for most decks, but it's still pretty good, and at least it's something that hits. But this is not the important, this is not where it gets good. This number will keep going up, because remember, with Maliaki, that 4k is for the turn. So this 4k sticks, and then when Furious Puncher attacks again, he's going to give another 4k. So we're going to show that right now with the Ganbaragan, which is on attack, Soul Blast 1, to stand one of our units. And when we stand one of our units, now 3 things go off. So the first is Furious Puncher, giving another 5k for the turn, because that's not once per turn either. So Vanguard gains another 5. Then Maliaki goes off. So we're actually going to just put that up to 2. So now Furious Puncher has 2 instances of the red text of when this attacks, give 2 units 4k for the turn. So now when it attacks next time, it's going to be able to give 8k to 2 units or 4k to 2 different units twice. And that stacks on top of the existing 4k. So we now have 2 instances of red text, and then finally, Merciless, Counterblast 1, discard 2 to restand. We're then going to attack with Furious Puncher next, who's already 11 because it maintains the 4k, and then it has 2 more instances of 4k from the red text that it just gained, which is 12 plus 7 is now 19. Again, this number isn't like super incredible or scary, but it's a number that hits, and so it requires opponent to have shield, and that's what's important. And it's only going to keep getting bigger. And of course, we're not just giving Furious Puncher 8k, we're also giving Vanguard 8k. Oh. So now we have 12 plus 10 is 22, plus the 27 base is 37. So we're going to attack again with 2 drives, and again, Drill the Duel makes your opponent have to guard with 2 cards. So 2 more checks. Again, I made them blanks, but any triggers go on the Vanguard, go on the Furious Puncher, more threats. And you can see where we're going now. So we attack with the last Ganbaragan. Once again, Soul Blast 1 to restand this. When this restands, Vanguard gains yet another 5. And then Maliaki gains another stack of red text. And then Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Ditch 2 to stand 1 more time. So now we're going to attack with our last Furious Puncher, who now has 3 instances of Maliaki text. So copy this and go 1, 2, 3. So 4 times 6 is 24, 24 plus 7. That's now 31k on the rear guard. That's almost basically Dose Ledge numbers. And sure, it requires a bit more investment than Dose Ledge Busted, but we've done it for a lot less resources. What? Counterblast 2, discard 1, because we're still overall card, same number of cards we started with. Soul Blast 2 from the Ganbaragans, and we've had 2 extra Vanguard swings. So that's a total of 5 drives so far. We're about to get 6 because we have 1 more drive left, which sure isn't as much as say Busted 7, 8, 9 drive turns, but it's spread out over multiple attacks, which means your opponent has to keep continuously guarding. Whereas if you're swinging at them with like say a Busted with 10 drives, they're just going to PG it because they can't take that risk. But when you have 3 and then 2 and then 1, that's 20k, 30k, 40k shield they have to commit every time. And again, this number's going up because these 4ks are permanent. So, this Furious Punch is giving 4k every time, repeatedly. But in any case, this attack goes through, and now we have the final attack, which, as we saw, 3 lots of +4, so let's do that real quick. So we have 6 lots of +4, which is 24, plus 15 is 39, plus the 27 base makes you 66k on the final swing with 1 drive, 2 cards to guard. This is basically Overlord-like numbers and pressure. And if you hit the crit here, the game's just over. So, as you counted, it's 8 attacks. The first few are very small, but then towards the last few, those 4Ks add up, 5Ks from Furious Punch on your Vanguard add up, and drill the duel, making your opponent hard to guard, it's actually really gets there a lot of the time. If your opponent doesn't have like the perfect defense and isn't ready for it, that's really just game ending. And I've been experimenting with a few different versions of the list. Like, sometimes you want to try and add the Jerahawk. If you can put a Jerahawk behind this column and you have the extra counter blast, you attack with the Ganbaragan, not using the effect, stand it with the Jerahawk that you have on the back row, which then stands your Vanguard, which gives you an extra attack. It doesn't give you an extra proc of Furious Punch or a Maliaki, but that extra swing, because at this point now, Vanguard's like what? Like I said, 66k? That one more time with no drives could be that final push you need. Of course, Jerahawk does cost Counterblast, which isn't great, but it also does give you Soul, which lets you reuse Arnists, lets you use Ganbaragans, gives you hand to use Cool Hank, gives you hand to discard 2 for Drill the Duel or for Vanguard, whatever. It's just a little bit of a safety net. I just haven't found space for it. But I did tweet this version of the list, which without Jerahawk, on Twitter a few days ago, like maybe a week ago now, and I think it's really, really solid. But I'm going to quickly put the deck list up here again for everyone to see. I think it's just, not fully optimized, but it's got everything I want to see in this deck and everything that you need to make the combo work. I'm not saying this is the only or best way to play Merciless. I think this is just a very fun and interesting way to get as much mileage out of these multiple Vanguard swings as possible. That's it for this combo video. I'm going to do a lot more testing with Merciless, with Nova Grappler. Like, these reveals have just been super fun to experiment with, so thanks again to our friend tyfyghtr for revealing them. Again, if you haven't watched this reveal video, go watch it now, and if you have watched it, watch it again anyway, because it's really great. That's going to be it for today. The same thing as always, the regular salutations. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow us on social media, all the regular things. And of course, we can't forget the regular sponsor shout out, Strictly Broken TCG. Premium Collection 2022 is coming out later this year, and Strictly Broken TCG will be doing pre-orders and singles or boxes if you want them. So you can buy yours at SBTCGTOKU and use promo code SBTCGYELLOWCARD for a 5% discount site-wide on Weiss as well as Premium Collection at checkout. I've been Zystral with YellowCard Vanguard. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.